there's some relief in terms of the rain, because in the past 8 hours it's not rained here in the Tri-City area, which was of course the worst affected. But let me show you the kind of scenes here. Well, as I walk, there's still knee-deep water here in the residential complexes of Mohali, and there you can see how vehicles are actually submerged still. Now these vehicles could not be seen yesterday. They were completely submerged underwater, but today, because the water is now being pumped out, you can actually see those vehicles. But as I still walk towards the parking area, and if I can ask my camera person to follow me, there you can see the kind of how the entire parking area is submerged. And now the big worry really is food supply, electricity supply, water supply for all those people who are living here in these societies, particularly in the top floors. In fact, there were overnight rescue operations as well by the state and central rescue teams to make sure that there are children, there are senior citizens who had to be evacuated. In fact, if I can walk towards the NDRF boat as well, you can see there's still the NDRF boat present here to actually make sure that the NDRF operations continue. We will see NDRF operations begin in just a short while from now. And let me show you all these pictures of how people are wading through this water to actually get water supply, because there's no water supply. There's been no water supply in the past over 50 hours, and there's no power supply either. So these people are living virtually without electricity for the past 3 days, and that is really the big worry. Let me show you how the vehicles are actually submerged here still. So you can imagine the situation of people living in these residential complexes. Let's try and get in a sense from some people here who are still, trying to make sure that they have enough water supply and food supply. There you can see how people are standing here to get water. Let's try and get in a word from some of them. Sir, हम देख रहे हैं पिछले 50 घंटों में ना यहाँ पर बिजली है, ना पानी है, फूड की भी बहुत दिक्कतें हो रही हैं, लगातार एनडीआरएफ ऑपरेशन चल रही है. कितनी मुश्किलें रही हैं पिछले 50 घंटों में?
सर बहुत मुश्किल आ रही है. एक तो अपना 3rd फ्लोर पे अपना फ्लैट है. हाँ. उसके बाद नीचे आना पड़ता है, उसके बाद ये पानी से निकलना पड़ता है जी. बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है, बच्चों के साथ तो बहुत ही ज्यादा मुश्किल हो रहा है.
And there you can see, Divya, how these people are actually coming here to fill their buckets with water, because there's no water supply in this residential complex either. Let's also speak to some other people here. Sir, कल रात को हमने देखा लगातार किस तरीके से एनडीआरएफ ऑपरेशंस चलते रहे यहाँ पर. एनडीआरएफ की 2 बोट्स भी यहाँ पर मौजूद थी. क्या स्थिति अब बेहतर हो रही है थोड़ी?
नहीं सर, कल तो उससे बुरा हाल था, क्योंकि परसों जब डैमेज हो गया तो लोकल बॉडीज़ को जिनके पास पावर अथॉरिटीज़ है उनको यहाँ आके कंट्रोल करना चाहिए था. हार्डली 10 फुट का एरिया यहाँ से पानी एंटर कर रहा है. अगर वहाँ जाल बनाया जाए, टीमें डिप्यूट की जाए, कोई आपको गवर्नमेंट एजेंसी का कोई बंदा यहाँ दिखाई दे रहा है?
जी. अच्छा, जल्दी से एक और बात ये बताइए कि ये इस तरीके की स्थिति पहले कभी हुई है?
नहीं, कभी नहीं हुई. ये हमारे खुद 7-8 साल हो गए, कभी भी ऐसा हालात नहीं हुए. होते हैं, ये त्रासदी है, लेकिन कम से कम स्पोर्ट में खड़े तो. आपके पास पावर है, आपके पास कुछ भी नहीं आप कर रहे, तो क्या फायदा?
Now, why this has happened, Divya, very quickly, let me give you some figures. Now, if you talk about the Tri-City area itself, it has received 70% of its annual rain quota in just, over 72 hours. So you can imagine, the kind of havoc really that it has unleashed here in these residential complexes. And just talking about the Dera Bassi area, nearly 85% of its annual rain quota was, received in just 72 hours, and which is why this entire society continues to be inundated. And this is not just one isolated case. There are several such residential societies we've been reporting from since yesterday where similar situations continue. As I keep going further, you can see that the water keeps getting deeper. It's knee deep here, and beyond this point, the NDRF teams are not allowing us to go. There's neck deep water still in these residential complexes.
Vedanta, as always, thank you so much for getting us the latest from Ground Zero. We do hope you stay safe. But are there any submersible pumps in place where you are? And also, is this a fairly new society? Has it been built in the last few years?
That's a very important question, Parmeshwar. So the submersible pump was in fact positioned just today morning. Before this, there were attempts manually to actually pump this water out, but that's virtually an impossible task. But now a submersible pump has been positioned by the local administration. In fact, I also spoke to the SDM, and she said that that submersible pump has been placed. Now, talking about the construction, now what people here tell us is that the way the society is actually built is one of the reasons why why this is completely inundated in the monsoon season. The boundary wall completely collapsed when there were flash floods or a flood-like situation, and when first it rained heavily. And after that, if you see the kind of construction here, Parmeshwar, you see that there are very few gaps actually between buildings, and there are close to 2,200 people who live in the society, and faulty construction is actually one of the reasons, and faulty drainage system. In fact, we also questioned the president of the society about this, and he had to say that they're trying to negotiate with the local administration to get better drainage systems in place, but that has been a struggle. So of course all those infrastructural issues are also in place, because of which the society is completely inundated, and several such residential complexes in this area.